You can be seated. Please understand, it wasn't Joseph's fault that he was favored by their father Jacob. Please understand, it wasn't his fault that his father loved him. It wasn't his fault that his father favored him. It wasn't his fault that even when the father Jacob was blessing the children, that this was the only prominent blessing that was spoken. He couldn't control the fact that his father loved him more. Please understand that. It wasn't Joseph's fault that he had a dream that didn't involve him being a nobody all his life. See, the reason some folk talk about you now is because they don't like the fact that you think you can be more than where you're at. And every day when you get up, the reason you get up is not because you feel like it. It's because something keeps saying there's got to be more to life than this. I got more to do in my life than to sit around and be nothing. I am somebody. I've been through hell, but baby, I don't look like hell. Shout out, I am Joseph. No, please understand, Jacob, or Israel, his name was changed. He was the younger brother, you know the story, to Esau. Now, it was prophesied to Rachel that the older would serve the younger. Esau was the older, Jacob was the younger. It was prophesied to Rachel that they're going to fight all the time, but the order's going to be reversed. And the one you think is going to be on top, the one that looks like they're going to be it, the one that was voted most likely to succeed in high school, the one that you think is going to do it, he said, I'm going to reverse the order in this situation. Watch this. Please understand. Jacob desires Rachel and he works for her, but he is tricked by Uncle Laban because, you know, Jacob and them, they was tricksters. And so Jacob finally got a dose of his own medicine. Please understand this. Jacob was deceitful and he swindled his brother Esau out of his birthright, and he deceived his daddy Isaac to get the blessing that should have been spoken over Esau. Why? Because, stay with me, in the Hebrew culture, the firstborn son was entitled to the blessing of the father. So the fact now that you're reversing that order and the secondborn is the one that's getting the blessing throws everything out of order, because it should be Esau that's getting the blessing. Matter of fact, stay with me. Go to Genesis 27. Genesis 27. Are you still here? Tell somebody, say he's going somewhere. Genesis 27. Watch this. I'm going to help you. Genesis 27. Go down to now verse number 27. Watch this. This is Isaac blessing Jacob. Watch this. And he came near and kissed him and smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him and said, surely the smell of my son is the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. Therefore may God give you of the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Watch this. If you're going to bless somebody, this is how you bless them. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be those who blesses you. That sounds a lot like the blessing that was spoken to who? Abraham, because he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God is a generational God. Are you still here? Go to verse 39. Now remember, to get that blessing, Jacob and Jacob's mama came up with a scheme and said, we're going to trick your daddy into blessing you. What's this? Verse 39. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, behold, your dwelling shall be of the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. By your sword shall you live, and you shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you become restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. Watch verse 41. So Esau hated his brother Jacob because of the blessing which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. What he saying? He said, Daddy getting ready to die. And once he died, I'm killing Jacob. What's this? Now, of course, we look at the story of Jacob, and, you know, thank God, Jacob, Israel. But imagine how Esau felt. Let me just get in your Kool-Aid. Imagine seeing favoritism in action, and you not being the one that's favored, but you're being the one that's getting the short end of the deal. Imagine what that feels like now, that everybody else is having a good time. Everybody else is enjoying the blessing, but you're the one that nobody's talking to, nobody's messing with, nobody's dealing with. So Esau begins to hate his brother of that. Please understand. Jacob has family issues, and he feels his brother will kill him. What's this? Go to Genesis 32. I'm going somewhere. Stay with me. Genesis 32. Genesis 32 and 24. Here it is. Jacob now, he flees and he runs because he's scared of Esau. He's scared of what Esau's going to do to him. He's scared of what Esau's going to say to him. He is fearful. He's fearing for his life. He knows Esau's going to kill me. If he catches up with me, he's going to kill me. He can't stand me as it is. Oh, y'all, some of y'all know how I go at family reunions where you got one part of the family over here, the other part of the family over here, and this group said, and they bet not. She still owed me $20 from the last family reunion. Always asking to hold on to something. Stay with me. Jacob fears for his life until Genesis 32:24. Then Jacob was left alone. No. And a man wrestled with him into the breaking of day. Watch this. Watch this. Please understand. Jacob, who is a shyster, who is a player. Please understand. Jacob is a pimp. He's a gangster. Because you know it's hard out there. Jacob is a harlot. Jacob is a ... You fill in the blank. Jacob is in fear for his life until he has an encounter that it's just him and God. And the reason God has been isolating some of you and getting you away from the folk that used to be your friends is because you got too much going on around you. And he says, I got to get you by yourself so I can deal with you. Because I'm not going to do surgery in a crowd. Are you still here? Because of this encounter that he has to deal with himself and God. He's left alone. It's just him and God. Not mama and them, not daddy and them, nobody else. It's just him and God. He can't say the God of my mama. He can't say the God of my daddy. It's him and God by themselves. And they're wrestling now to see who's going to win. And you know the story. Jacob says, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. In other words, he says, I'm not letting you go until you give me my blessing legitimately this time. Because I stole it last time. You're not hearing what I'm saying. God, I'm not going to let you go until you fix my marriage for real this time. Because last time we just dealt with fruit. We never got to the root of the issue. So I'm going to be alone with you for a little bit. Stop crying and complaining because folk are walking out of your life. That means God is trying to get you alone so that you can... I ain't going to get no runners, huh? Watch this. Because of this encounter, God changes his name, and then he touches him in the hip. And now Jacob's got a deficit that only God can feel. Please understand, you want to know God is working with you. The one thing you keep asking him to change, he doesn't. He just responds to you like Paul, my grace is sufficient. You keep asking me to take it, I ain't taking it nowhere. Because if I don't give you a limp, Jacob, you're going to think you somebody. And you're going to start walking around prideful, putting your chest out, you know, because you've been saved for 4.5 months. You know 3 Hebrew words and you know your Bible. Saved in January, called to preach in March, ordained in July. Ready to start your church by October. Watch this. Watch this. Jacob, somebody say Jacob. He has 7 children with Leah and 4 between their 2 handmaidens, and he has 2 with Rachel. Now, you remember Leah because Leah was, Bible says he had delicate eyes. Watch this. Watch this. Tell somebody, say Bishop's going somewhere. Please understand this. Jacob's 11th son is with Rachel, and his name is Joseph. Are you still here? Now, in the Hebrew culture, names mean a lot because your name was a reflection of what your destiny was. Your name was a reflection of what your future was. So now Rachel's name means one without impurity. One who is pure. Somebody say pure. Please understand this. Matter of fact, some of you, you need to go home and you need to research, and I told you this before, you need to research what your name means so that you can see every time somebody calls your name what it is they're actually speaking about you. Because please understand, that's the same reason God changed Abram to Abraham. He changed Sarai to Sarah, because I needed to change their name. So every time somebody calls them, they're speaking the promise into them, not the curse. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Somebody shout the promise. out of something pure now between Jacob and Rachel, Joseph is produced. And Joseph is a dreamer. Watch this. Please understand. Go to Genesis 39. I want you to see this. Go to Genesis 39. Genesis 39. Y'all still here? Watch this. Genesis 39. Watch this. Go to verse 2. Now, here's the deal. Say, Rachel, pure. Now, here's the deal. Joseph's name, you want to know what it means? Well, let me show you the scripture first. Go to Genesis 39, go to verse 2. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was at the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found what? Favor. Sounds just like the favor he had with his daddy, that he didn't do nothing to get. His daddy just loved him more. Well, watch this. He found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and he put all he had under his authority. Go down to verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy, and he gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Go down to now chapter 40. Go to chapter 40. Matter of fact, I'll take you all the way. Go to 41. Let me just get to it. Go to 39. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and as wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne, I'll be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I've set you over the land of Egypt. Watch this. Say, Joseph is favored, and there's nothing he can do about it. Now, I already told you what your name is. All right, we're going to have to. Some of y'all still waking up. Okay. Your name is Joseph. And what does Joseph mean? His name means whom the Lord continues to increase. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Despite what all his brothers did to him, they could not stop what God had spoken over him. And that's just like you. You may have gone through hell. You may have had some family trouble. You may have had some money issues. You may have had a divorce. You may have had some relationship issues. But your name is Joseph. And since your name is Joseph, everywhere I go, I'm favored. I can walk into a mess and come out on top because my name means whom the Lord increases. In the middle of what they can say is a recession, since my name is Joseph, the Lord is continuing to increase me. You can confess down all you want. You can say you're going down all you want, but ma'am, not me, because my name has been changed to Joseph. Somebody shout out, I am Joseph. Please understand, some of you, there's some things you need to get over. Joseph had to go through hell. All your brothers hate you. Matter of fact, let me take an opportunity to parenthetically insert this. Just because they got your blood don't mean they're your brother. You may have come from the same place, but you're not headed in the same direction. Tell somebody, say he's going somewhere. Please understand this. There's some things you need to get over. Please understand. God is Alpha and Omega. That means he is beginning and the end. Please understand. There were some things that you needed to walk through because he knows the thoughts and the plans he has for you. Please understand. So what God did is God said, in the beginning, I started thinking. And I knew there'd be a problem, so I thought you up. And I thought you up so that you could go fix problems. Stop running from your trouble. Stop running from your issues. God says, I thought you into that situation because you were the only one that could be Joseph. You were the only one that could manifest the blessing. You were the only one that can change it. Stop complaining about your hell and go through your hell. Why me? Quit asking. That's the wrong question. You're going to be asking that for a long time. The right question is what I need to do. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Watch this. Watch this. Please understand. Some of you are worried about how things are going to end up. And you need to hear me. God would have not let you start unless he had planned on you finishing strong. Tell somebody, say, you were born for such a time as this. See, I don't care what your mama said, and she said she didn't mean to have you, and you were an accident. I don't care what nobody said about you. You need to understand you were born for such a time as this. God stepped into it in time, out of eternity, to place you in earth for such a time as this. You've got an assignment, you've got a purpose, you've got a destiny. And I'm here to let somebody know it's not to wake up and to go to work and to come home and to eat and to watch Wheel of Fortune and go to bed. That is not your destiny. That's not your assignment. That's not living. Tell somebody, say, that's not living. Please understand this. It was a process Joseph had to deal with in order to prepare him for what he had been ordained to do. Please understand, even when it looked like he was declining, since his name was Joseph, he was always increasing. You're not getting what I'm saying. When you're a child of a king, I don't care who's against you. All the world could be against you. But if God be for you, who can be against you? The reason I'm not worried about my enemies is because my enemies must not know my name. Because if they knew my name, they'd realize every time they called it out, they were saying, Lord, increase him. Every time they run their mouth and talk about you, they're saying, Lord, increase him. Because every time God hears Joseph, he says, let me start increasing. Let somebody say, I am Joseph. So now watch this. Please understand this. When you're a child of the king, nobody can hold you down. Your situation can hold you down. Bankruptcy can't hold you down. Foreclosure can't hold you down. Divorce can't hold you. None of that can stop you because your name is Joseph. Say, I am Joseph. Here's his problem, though. He has a dream that he tells to the wrong folk. Well, watch this. Go to Genesis 37:7. I'm about through. See, he thought, well, they're my family folk. If anybody's going to support me, it should be my family folk. And some of y'all, you found out, sometimes family do you in quicker than strangers. Watch this. 37:7, here it is. In fact, go up to verse 5. Now Joseph had a dream. Let me just stop there. Anybody, you got some dreams? You got some visions? You realize you're just passing through where you're currently at. This ain't the end. You understand? This ain't the end. Tell somebody, say, this ain't the end. Tell them, I'm just getting started. Tell them, you ain't seen nothing yet. You have no clue who you're sitting next to. You don't know who you're messing with. You're dealing with Joseph, and you throw me in a prison, man, I'll bust out of that thing and end up being under Pharaoh. Don't you mess with me. He had a dream, and he ran his mouth trying to get co-signers to believe his dream. And here's the deal about dreams. Say dreams. If the only way you believe it is if somebody co-signs it, you're not worthy of it. If the only way you're going to walk in that thing is you need 2 or 3 co-signers on your dream, then you don't deserve that dream. Can somebody say he's going somewhere? Well, I says, he told his dream to the wrong folk. He was just excited. You know, he wanted everybody to be excited. I had this dream where y'all going to be serving me. What could be more exciting than that? Sounds a lot like his daddy. I says, go to Genesis 45. Basically, we're using the Bible a lot because this is church. If you don't have one, you can get one in the resource center right after. Genesis 45. I'm taking all these scriptures because I want you to see it. Long and short is, say, I am Joseph. Long and short is they go through this, and there's a famine in the land, and Jacob's still alive, and Jacob tells his son to go down to Egypt because they need to get some grain. They need to live. They need to survive. Now, remember, these are the same brothers that said, we'll never bow down to you. We'll never serve you. We're never going to be part of your dream. We're not working for your company. You think I'm going to work for you, and I'm older than you. You're going to work for me. These are the same brothers. You think you're somebody because you're getting married. You think you're somebody because you're doing this. You think these are the same brothers that ran their mouth. Now they're coming to Joseph. 45:1. Then Joseph could not restrain himself. before all those who stood before him, and he cried out, make everyone go out from me. So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers, and he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard it. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. I am being increased by the Lord. You sold me into slavery, so I died. But little did you know what you used to set me up. God, turn that thing for my good. What you were trying to get me fired off my job, God, turn that thing for my good. When you were trying to bust up my marriage, God, turn that thing for my good. And I am Joseph. Watch this. But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed in his presence. See, reason some folk can't really be real around you, and you try to be real with them and all that, it's because they're dismayed by you. Because in the back they've been running their mouth about you. And when Joseph walks into their presence, they realize Joseph's the only one that can get them out of this. And they ain't got too much to say because they've been running their mouth. And you look at them saying, what's wrong? Why you can't say nothing? Watch this. I'm about to watch this, verse 4. And Joseph said to his brothers, please come near to me. So they came near. Then he said, I am Joseph, your brother, who you sold. See, you didn't see my value. You didn't think I could make it. You didn't think I had what it took. You didn't think I was somebody. But baby, God was always for me since the beginning. You got to be careful who you let buy and sell you. Because the person you allow to have that much power over you to sell you. Somebody say he's going somewhere. But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. What's this? For God sent me before you to preserve your life. See, let me just connect the dots for you real simple. The folk that are your greatest enemies are the folk that before it's said and done will need you. And they're going to come to you to deliver them. They're going to call you to pray for them. While they were talking about, well, I don't know why you go to church. I don't know why you get your money in that church. And they're going to be the main ones calling you. When service? When service going on? When? Joseph said, you sold me. But he said, don't trip. Tell somebody, say, don't trip. He said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all right, baby. It's all good. It's good, baby, because what you didn't know is I'm the only one that can save you. Somebody say, I am Joseph. Watch this, verse 6. For these 2 years the famine has been in the land, and there's still 5 years in there, but there'll be neither plowing nor harvesting. And God sent me before you to preserve a posterity for you in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. Say, I'm going before my family to save them. I can't get nobody to say nothing. What's this? Go to verse 11. There I will provide for you, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty. For there are still 5 years left of famine. You will be the deliverer to them that despised you. The folk that say, I don't know why you praying. God ain't listening to you. You're going to be the very one. I don't know why you're going to church. God can't use you. You're going to be the very one that God uses to deliver them in their time of famine. Somebody say, I am Joseph. Now I'm about through. Let's go ahead and take this thing home. Joseph now has 2 sons. Say, God is a God of generations. Joseph has 2 sons while he's in Egypt, and his father Jacob is still alive, and he comes to live in Egypt when he's 130 years old. Let me set the ground for the text. Go to Genesis 48, and then we're going to ride, and then we're going to go stuff some chicken necks. Or bones or whatever. I don't mess with none of that stuff. If it ain't a breast, I don't want it. Too many veins and all that and that other meat. All right, what's this? Genesis 48:13. You ready? Because I'm going to show you what God has been doing for you. Because see, some of y'all sit up and say, God, why am I still here? How out of all the folk, wasn't there some folk that was a little bit more valuable than me? And you're walking around with that false humility, which is really pride cloaked. Are you hearing me? Watch this. Watch this. Genesis 48, verse 13. And Joseph took them both, Manasseh and Ephraim. Watch this. And Joseph, verse 13, took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh with his left toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near him. Watch this. Then Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger. Which means the same thing that happened for Jacob, that happened for Joseph, is now happening for Joseph's. God, if you give me some folk that understand this. Then Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, guiding his hands knowingly from Manasseh, who was the firstborn. He was the one that was entitled to it. He was the one that everybody thought was going to be something. And he was the one that everybody said, this is the one you need to support. And what happens is Jacob don't see it that way. And he blessed Joseph and said, God, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, then God who fed me all the life long to this day, the angel who redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, let my name be upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them go into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Watch this. But when Joseph saw his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. So he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. He was saying, I need you to do it like this. You need to bless the older. The right hand is the hand of blessing. That's why Christ is seated at the right. Y'all a good class. Stay with me. Watch this. Here's the juice. Stay with me. Watch this. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he'll be great too. But truly, the younger one shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations. So he blessed them that day, saying, by you Israel will bless, saying, may God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And thus he set Ephraim before Manasseh. He set the younger before the older. He set the one who should have had to wait in front of the one that was entitled. You're not hearing what it is I'm saying. Then Israel said to Joseph, behold, I am dying, but God will be with you and bring you back to the land of your fathers. Here's what happens now. Remember, I told you names are an important thing in Hebrew culture. So let me go ahead and drop it to you. Watch this. Manasseh's names mean the Lord has made me forget. What's this? What's this? Manasseh's name means the Lord has made me forget the issues of my father's household. Manasseh's name means I've been through a lot, but I'm not going to let that get inside of me. I had to go through hell, but baby, I came out licking an ice cream cone. I had to get lied on, cheated, talked about mistreated, buked, scorned, talked about I had to go through some stuff. I've been up, I've been down, but listen, baby, the Lord has made me forget. Somebody shout, he made me forget. Please understand this. If you can forget the foolishness of your bloodline, God's going to give you an Ephraim. Somebody say, Bishop, what does Ephraim mean? I'm glad you asked. Ephraim means double fruitful. God says if you can forget about all the hell you had to go through, I'm going to repay you for what you had to go through, and I'm going to give you double. Somebody shout double. And here's what God does. God says, the one that should be blessed, I'm going to. No, you're missing it. God says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my hands. See, the reason we got this thing where they call him Generation X is because all that was is when Jacob was blessing the other one, and it was a cross that just needed to get turned upside right. You're not hearing what I'm saying. God is saying to you, say to us, God is saying to this generation, for all the hell your previous generation had to go through. You weren't no slave for nobody. You didn't have to sit up and deal with no poverty like you talking about. You ain't going through nothing compared to what the old generation had to go through. But God says, I'll make you forget the iniquity of your father, and I'm going to... Should have died in the accident, but should have caught something when you was out there messing around, but should be living on the street somewhere, but should be destitute, but I dare you to just cross. I dare you to just. That's what God did to you. God says the one that should be spared, he'll be all right. But I'm putting my blessing on you. I'm giving you double for all of the help you had to deal with. If you can just forget the mess you had to go through, don't you worry about what they're doing. Don't you worry about what they. Hear me. Hear me. Hear me. Say, I am Joseph. God says, out of you, Josephs, comes a Manasseh and comes an Ephraim. And if you can just forget, see, I know you're still holding your mama for what she did back in 77. But if you can just forget about that, I'll give you an Ephraim. And Ephraim is greater than Manasseh. Which means the reason I'm not worried about the time I've wasted in my past is because my future named Ephraim is double. The reason I'm not whining about that house I had to lose, see, I don't know why you're sitting up here whining. The reason you're not whining about that man that walked out, the reason you're not whining about that woman that walked out is because everything you had to deal with in Manasseh, God says, let me get to you in Ephraim. Because when I get to Ephraim, I'm... I know you're stressed out about how this is going to happen, but just... Because for all of the stuff in my bloodline, I get double. As if I heard that before. But see, here's the deal. You didn't have understanding before. So somebody can say double, 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 double for your trouble, double for your trouble, triple for your ripple, quadruple for you. But that don't mean nothing unless you understand it. The saying words. God is saying to this generation, which means everybody under the sound of my voice, I crossed over. And there was some stuff your mom and them had to deal with that I never intended for you to have to deal with. There's some stuff your ancestors had to deal with I never intended for you to deal with. And please understand, your daddy was on crack. I never intended for you to be that way. Your family had issues. I never intended for you to be that way. Your great-grandma was meaner than a junkyard dog. I didn't intend for you to be that way. And so what I did was I favored you over the others. And that's why you're not worried about what folk are saying. I can't help it. I can't help it that he's favored me. People looking at you, you think y'all that because you got your little suit on, you got your little Easters and went to K&G, yes, they think y'all, listen. I can't help it. And even when you seem like all hell is breaking loose, since your name is Joseph, in the middle of all of that, God says, it looked like I was subtracted. Baby, I was just getting ready to multiply. I can't get nobody to connect dots in class today. God says, I'm going to multiply you. I'm through, but some of you in here, I'm worried about my job, worried about what's going to happen. Listen. I don't know what's going to happen with my marriage. I don't know what's going to happen with my relationship. I don't know how my kids are going to get out of this. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm so sick of them. I just got Freddie and Jason and Mikey Myers. I got them all in my house. There's Bishop, please pray for me. They're in my back seat right now. I don't know why my son's acting like this. I didn't raise him like that. I don't know why he's doing this, but Easter was more than a get out of hell free card. It was a divine favoring of you. The reason your business is going to work in the midst of what they say is a recession, because we don't participate in all that, is because, Bishop, I don't deserve it. That's the whole idea. See, if you could have, you would have went to Calvary. You couldn't do it. You've never been good enough. You got to please understand. It is his righteousness working through you. Bishop, I've been good there. I ain't cussed all day. On your best day. It's his righteousness. Say his righteousness working in me. Everybody stand to your feet.
Thank you for tuning in to today's life-giving message. Harvest exists to change lives by leading people to totally love God, love people, and love life as one church in global locations. And if you have a testimony of how Harvest has changed your life, let us know on our website Contact Us page. We're able to continue to change lives because of the faithful giving of people just like you. And if you'd like to contribute to Harvest financially, you can do so today online at www.harvestcc.me. Remember to love God, love people, and love life.